Within 9 years of becoming a huge star, Desiigner hasn't just fallen off, but has reached the point where you're more likely to see him in the news for having a mental breakdown, exposing himself on a flight, or accusing Kanye of copying his designs than you are to hear about him releasing new music. Left with a reputation of having one of the most dramatic career demises in hip-hop, people are still wondering how it all went so wrong so quickly. So how did a kid from Bed-Stuy go from having the world in the palm of his hands to landing himself into a mental health facility? It's your boy Louaista, and today we're going to be talking about how the music industry broke Desiigner. But first, let's take a look at his rise to see just how far he had to fall. Born in Brooklyn, Sidney Royal Selby was named after his grandfather, who was a famous blues musician. With that talent in his blood, he started rapping at the age of 15 under the name of Dezolo before he switched it up to his name Desiigner. In December of 2016, he released his first track under this new alias, Zombie Walk. Straight away, his deep, gravelly voice churned heads, with the comparison to another rapper starting immediately. A rapper you probably know by the name of Future. Just 13 days after he unveiled Zombie Walk, he was about to change his life forever. In some senses, for the better. In others, for worst. Rhyming over a Meek Mill / Ace Hood type beat that was produced by an unknown English kid named Menace, Desiigner unveiled a track by the name of Panda, and almost immediately, it made him a star. Just as it was tearing up the streets of New York, this song was also making its way into the halls of record companies who are always looking for the next big thing. Among those was Steven Victor of Good Music, who put the song into the orbit of Kanye West. With 11 record labels courting him, he decided to sign to Ye's Good Music and Def Jam in February of 2016, just 2 months after his song hit the airwaves. Later down the line, Desiigner revealed that he turned down securing bigger bags from other labels just to align himself with an influential artist like Kanye, whom he felt could take him to the next level.
Did they offer the most amount of money, or was it just, I want to rock with Kanye?
It was just, yeah, it was definitely the seeing his movement. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't kid, I ain't have all the money. I just wanted to make the best out of the movement. You think I'm saying? And that's what got that shit diamond. That's what, because I never seen it for the cash. You feel what I'm saying? I just wanted to be able to create a movement where I could be able to jump on stage and make people mosh pit, feel it good, inspire others, tap in, help communities, and really do this shit how I wanted to do it.
In some ways, he was right, because by the end of 2016, Panda would already be 4 times platinum, and in due course, it would go diamond in terms of worldwide sales. But a big reason for that came down to the fact that Ye pretty much co-opted the track for his own album. On Ye's The Life of Pablo, his newly signed artist got 2 features. One came on Freestyle 4, while the other was Father Stretch My Hands Part 2. And if you heard that track, it was basically just Panda with an added Ye verse.
It's lit, man. Definitely felt good, bro. Felt good. Seeing that shit inspired, bro. Like, in the car when he played it, he was like, yo, man, how you feel about it? It's like, that shit hard, man. Because he didn't want to do too much on it. I feel like Ye didn't even want to do too much on it. He wanted to just, yo, let me say this point, and let's let bro get his shine. I really with him. I want to give him that.
At just 18 years old, Desiigner became the first rapper from New York in a decade to have a #1 single. The song's success caught the attention of some major stars, and soon, rappers like Meek Mill, T-Pain, and Fabulous remixed the song, making it explode his name into stardom even more. The endorsement of some established stars would have felt good, but maybe not as good as the life-changing windfall that the song would bring within a year of its release.
Now, you bought the beat for Panda for $200, right? How much has that record made thus far?
I made well over 10 million.
Damn!
Through the success of Panda, Desiigner became one of just 19 rappers at that time to have their first appearance on the billboards eventually reach #1. However, that wasn't necessarily the best thing, particularly because it was his first commercial single, as when it comes to artists who pulled off that feat, it didn't exactly put him in the company of all-time greats. Instead, it put him in line with novelty acts like Snow, Criss Cross, and Mark Wahlberg. Landing at #1 on your first attempt is crazy, and it means that the expectations on your shoulders are massive. It's worth remembering that it took until 2016 for Drake to top the charts with One Dance, and this was the track that would actually replace Panda at #1 after Desiigner's 2-week run at the top. In the wake of making such a splash, the pressure was on Desiigner to not be a one-hit wonder, and at first, it looked like he might pull it off and have a lengthy, successful career, as his first EP, titled New English, landed at #22 on the charts. But with Panda on the track list, it seems like the presence might have padded out those numbers, as no other track on the project made any major mark. After immediately landing on the XXL freshman class of 2016, he used his freestyle to preview a new track called Timmy Turner.
Timmy Turner, he was wishing for a burner. You know that it's on the finest for bitch beat.
This song was everywhere when it came out, and alongside another track by the name of Outlet, it gave Desiigner 2 more appearances on the charts. With that, people thought he might really have something. But unfortunately, they were about to be his last examples of success within the music industry. Because even while he was at the peak of his powers, Desiigner's presence in the industry came at a price. Because even as he tried to carve out his own path, his vocal style meant that he was in the shadow of another artist. From the moment Panda dropped, he was met by endless allegations that he was a Future clone. Although when you hear Desiigner speak, it seemed obvious that it was just how he sounded even without autotune, it didn't stop the endless comparisons from coming his way.
It is what it is. People gonna try to compare me. It is what it is. It's day-to-day shit. But hey, listen, I know I am Desiigner. You know what I'm saying? Let people know. I ain't got no diss on that man. Ain't no disrespect to him. Man, that man be God bless. Man, keep doing his thing. Hitting him up in charts. Man, that man keep doing his thing, but I'm Desiigner, baby.
Even though Desiigner maintained that he was a fan of Future's music, this didn't prevent Future from throwing a bit of shade in Designer's direction. This happened when Future encountered a less than enthusiastic crowd in Designer's hometown of New York. Following this, Future's associates joined in. Desiigner faced criticism from artists signed to Future's Free Bands label, including Lil Donald and Doughboy. Lil Donald notably released a diss track titled Panda, directly targeting Designer's hit song.
I ain't never been to Atlanta in this motherfucking life. Somebody got broads down here.
He later went on to tweet, "Fuck him, we FBG over this way." Warned by Donald that he couldn't come to Atlanta because they had guns for him down there, Desiigner was faced with hate from the moment he popped out. Yet at the same time, he did what most 18-year-olds who had suddenly achieved their wildest dreams would do. He used substances to cope with the pressure. Alongside being caught with drugs in the Lincoln Tunnel by the cops, he also threw up on stage mid-performance. Although Desiigner claimed that this was the result of no sleep and booking tons of shows.
You get no sleep, bro, and you book probably 4 times a night, bro. Bro, I was on the road at that time, just stupid every night, bro. It was no sleep, you know what I mean? So
soon, the dialogue around Desiigner would churn, or to be more exact, would stay fixated around his one hit. Whether it was him revealing that he didn't actually have broads in Atlanta, anywhere other than online, or the track being parodied by Kevin Hart in a kids film, everyone remained focused on his big hit rather than looking to what he had coming out. Still, his time in good music had really just began, and considering that he was only entering his 20s, he believed he could regroup and had major plans for the future.
now I got the time to calm down. I ain't doing the movies. I've been doing movies, no sleep, non-stop in the studio, making sure my album right, making sure I can stay here another 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
But even though Desiigner wanted to have a decades-long career, the reality was that the industry and fans had other plans for him. For years on end, things were pretty quiet on the new music front from Desiigner. Despite seeing himself as a superstar, it seemed like the early confidence that Kanye had in him to drop music had declined. And within just a couple of years, he was struggling to get anything out at all. Without the outlets of music, Desiigner turned to social media to get his frustrations across, and over the years, Instagram would give way to some of his most infamous moments that either left fans confused or just concerned about his frame of mind. As he sat on the shelf, talk quickly turned to Designer's fall-off. Just over a year in the game, it seemed like he was already fighting against the kind of accusations that once they emerge, can be very hard to get rid of.
No, for real, man, for all the haters out there, man. I don't want to hear all this shit. Desiigner fell off. Desiigner never fell nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I fell into a motherfucking mansion. I just bought in LA. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you see, only a couple records. I bought a fucking mansion. It's not even about the money. It's not. I just want people to be noticed, man. You feel me? It's like, this notice, like, it's greatness really here. This ain't no bullshit. I'm up every night working. This ain't a joke. Kanye ain't signing bullshit.
Back then, Desiigner used Ye's cosign as a sign of the greatness that he had to offer to the game. After all, when he signed him around the Life of Pablo era, West was still universally respected. But by 2019, he was one of many people who'd grown tired of Kanye's antics and basically implied that he wasn't getting the help he desired.
Nobody that's doing this shit for me. I signed to Kanye West, the biggest that niggas in the world. Y'all niggas think he's the genius. I niggas think all that nigga shit. Well, the mean nigga, that nigga's crazy. And the mean I've been doing shit by myself.
With his 2018 EP, Life of Desiigner, peaking at 161 on the billboards, the project was a commercial flop. While for his fans, it contained good tracks like Price Tag, but the only issue is that everyone was sleeping on them as they had written him off already. Although he just kept grinding whenever he got the green light to actually drop music, Desiigner just couldn't overcome the stigma of being a one-hit wonder. And at some point, it began to affect his relationships with Good to the point that in 2020, he had to escape.
I've definitely been in the studio, man, around the world, man. You know, bro, I haven't been trying to like follow too many waves, you know what I mean? It's really sticking to my own, you know what I mean? Still with the situation, I had to get out that good music shit I just felt uncomfortable with, you know what I mean?
Considering how focused he seemed in that interview, it marked the first time that fans thought he was capable of a comeback, with some even contemplating how he could do it. This actually made me happy to see this after people were clowning him. If Desiigner don't start rapping on drill beats, he's gonna miss out on a comeback. He could easily jump on the new NYC wave. But as positive as he seemed at first, it quickly became clear that he couldn't fully let go of the trauma that he experienced at Good Music. And instead of focusing on the future, Desiigner continued to long for success and excitement of his early career. Just look at his track letter to Ye from December of 2021, where he painted signing to the label as the greatest days of his life. Madison Square Garden, it first started. I'm up on the big screen, and I'm 17. I'm living that life. Seems like a movie scene. Standing next to Kanye, next to Pusha T. 2016, we was a big team. Performance at Summer Jam, we was the dream team. Sadly, it appears that Desiigner's initial suspicions might have been accurate, with his early successes potentially representing the pinnacle of his career. He later delved deeper into the reasons as to why he decided to step back from the spotlight. During an interview with DJ Vlad, Desiigner revealed that he wasn't in the right headspace during his time at Good because his father had serious health problems. But rather than opening up about it, the pressures of the industry made him bury it until it came out in other ways.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, you know what I mean? I wanted Ye to talk to, and it was hard to speak on it, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I wound up just like, I don't know, man. I just was going through, I had like a young emotion stage at that time, but I was having so much fun, bro. I couldn't express myself the way what was going on in my crib to my label mates. And maybe I should never try to like run like my emotion in the game, but it was just something like I would just like, you know, I was young. I never was taught not to keep your emotions out the game, because I was coming from a place where not too many people made it, bro. And I just wanted to have somebody that, you know what I mean, like that big brother stuff at the same time as being in the label, you know what I mean? Like, not just like, hey, yo, Desiigner, yeah, he making us these millions, but
basically, as an 18-year-old kid who had suddenly had a huge net worth and an audience who were waiting on more, Desiigner didn't have the tools or maturity to express the extent of what he was feeling or navigate the industry alone. So instead, he got resentful and lashed out. He felt that when a serious situation happened with his dad, no one at the label cared, including Kanye. They were only concerned about the money he was bringing in. I understand why he left. I respect it. Now flying without a safety net as an independent artist, Desiigner tried to kickstart his career. But the mental scars that he picked up and the chip that the industry kicking him to the side had left on his shoulder meant that he'd fall even further. By 2022, Desiigner was dropping music more steadily, but he still couldn't escape the future clone narrative in the comment. Despite everything, it seemed like listeners had broadly moved on. Even though the tracks he dropped still average around 1 million views on YouTube, and he has around 4 million monthly listeners on Spotify to this day, he still can't overcome what he achieved in the past. And in recent years, it seems like this uphill battle is taking a toll on his mental state. This was made clear when he emotionally quit rap after the loss of Takeoff.
this version of me is done. It's done. Y'all wanted it, it's over. Y'all wanted it, it's over. I can't even hold the tea, I can't even call Quay, I can't call Offset, I can't call none of these. I can't live like this no more.
Although he was torn apart by the loss of Takeoff, it seems like this was just the final straw for Desiigner. Left struggling to make people listen for years, the trauma had all come to a head, but still, he walked back the claims that he'd be quitting the industry as music was his therapy. But this wasn't the only sign of that frustration. Just a few months before Take's death, Desiigner hopped on Instagram, where he was known to act chaotically, to complain that he couldn't score a feature from ESTG.
Artists try to charge me $75,000 ESTG, bro. Yo, you're garbage. You is hot garbage. You can't perform like me. You can't never make a song like anybody in New York City. You're trash, bro. You're trash. You know what you are? That's what I'm doing right now. Shitty. You feel me? Stop playing with me. For real, for real. Y'all ain't never said what I sold. That's on my mother. Still trap your little gold records. Kick all them chains on your neck, boy. For real. Cause you a slave to the game.
Coming off like a bitter veteran, Desiigner backpedaled by the end of the clip, call a truce in a way that made it clear that he wasn't really in the right headspace.
Hey, yo, my boy, man. Okay. Kizzy, man, let's leave this shit, you know what I mean? Let's keep this shit hip-hop, man. Real. Let's leave this shit up to the fans, man. Think about dropping on the same day. Let's drop on the same day. Go viral.
But if that seemed erratic, it was nothing compared to what was to come in 2023. On a flight back from Tokyo in April of that year, Desiigner allegedly began to expose himself in front of flight attendants and reportedly touched himself in the seat. He was constantly told to stop, and he was eventually taken to the back of the plane. Once he was on the ground, he was arrested by the FBI and charged with indecent exposure. Once he came to his senses and the news started to break, he took to IG to reveal that he had been struggling mentally and that he was ashamed of his actions. In addition, he claimed that he was prescribed medicine while in Thailand that he hadn't been taking. Faced with the offender status, and after he obscenely and indecently exposed genitalia in a public place, Desiigner was eventually sentenced to 2 years probation, 120 hours of community service, and a $5,000 fine. Although the rumors were that the sentence was even worse, his lawyer said that the misdemeanor conviction is not one that will cause him to have to register as a sex offender. Embarrassing as this was, it was a small mercy, as if he was actually branded with that title, his career would formally be dead in the water. Shortly after all this went down, he did the best thing he could do and checked into a mental health facility, dropping the sequel to Timmy Turner just before he went in. "Sorry, I can't promote it the way I like cause I'm off the grid, but I just want to give you some new music while I take time away to become a better me," he said in a statement. "I'm going through a tough time right now, but I won't let my struggles define who I am. I will come back stronger and make more music that connects with all of you on a deeper level. For those of you who are dealing with any mental health issues, it's okay to ask for help." Now, hopefully on the mend, Desiigner has a chance to work out what he really wants. Does he really want to keep chasing the same success that he once had? Or is he just going to make music for himself and let whatever happens, happen? Whatever's the case, one thing that's for sure is that becoming successful so young wasn't everything he'd wished for. In fact, it was a gift and a curse. And as academics explained after the plane incident went down, Desiigner is a textbook example of getting too much too soon.
I always tell you, there's like a syndrome of rappers who get to fame really quickly, and it's via like maybe one hit. I kind of want to call it the one-hit wonder theory, where that high that probably lasts for like 2 or 3 years, that dopamine rush is so crazy that after that run is over and life is treating you like you're not that guy anymore, mentally it's hard to adjust to everything going on, because sometimes these guys still have money, but sometimes that fame and euphoria that they get from all of that is just not there anymore. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I guarantee, like, we gotta think about this. I guarantee when Desiigner was in the motherfucking hood and broke his shit, he wouldn't have mental problems. I don't think so.
Although he may have millions in the bank, the music industry put Desiigner through the ringer. So let's just hope that even if he doesn't have the success that he once achieved, that he can at least be happy in the years to come.